We're back to playing college football playoff games this week, and I am so excited for the Ohio State-Miami showdown in the Cotton Bowl, where we're going to get to see two of Miami's best in Jeremiah Smith and Malachi Toney play each other. But I was very interested to hear Jeremiah Smith might have ended up at Miami if this had happened. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that in an alternate universe, say Earth 838 as opposed to 616, Jeremiah Smith is a Miami Hurricane? Because it feels like that might have been in the offing had some things gone differently, necessarily while he was still trying to figure out where he was going to play college football. This is a dude who had Ryan Day buckle at the days until when he found out that he finally signed his national letter of intent and his financial aid agreement, so forth, so on, to come to Ohio State. And it turned out to be the game changer of 2024. From the moment Smith was in Columbus, all you heard was, we've never seen anybody quite like this. Guys that had been around people like Percy Harvin, Marvin Harrison Jr., J.K. Dobbins, Ezekiel Elliott, down on Justin Fields, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba. Nobody'd seen anything quite like what Jeremiah Smith was bringing as a 17-year-old. Remember, dude just turned 19 in November, which is wild. And he's already become the best player in college football. He finished 6th in the Heisman voting this year, somehow got robbed of the Biletnikoff Award for a second straight year. And now he has an opportunity to lead Ohio State to back-to-back national championships. And at a program as storied as the Buckeyes, they've never won back-to-back national championships. So this is an opportunity for Ryan Day to do it, and to do it with him calling the plays here at the end, which I think is added incentive because Ryan Day has not called plays for Jeremiah Smith. And I'm excited to see what that looks like against Miami and that defense that has been outstanding for them. And I think that if you have an opportunity to go to this game, you should, which gives me an opportunity to invite you to use SeatGeek if you are going to buy tickets to go to this game. If you use the promo code that is here, you can see it. It's ADAPT10. You'll get 10% off any of the tickets that you use when you use the SeatGeek app. And if you're downloading it for the first time, this app will automatically appear if you just go to the link in the description and hit the download button. You can get into the Cotton Bowl right now to see this game for little less than $50 for two seats, $38 standing room only, $47 for section 422, $50 445 just to be in the room. If that's what you want to do, you can obviously spend more to get better seats, but I think if you're in the area, it's worth going. Use SeatGeek, ADAPT10 for 10% off, and you will help the show as we're getting more sponsors that would like to partner with us, and we're grateful to have SeatGeek partnering with us for the remainder of the postseason. Now, I think when we talk about Jeremiah Smith, we're also talking about a dude that's going to tell you what he thinks, which is why he's become, I think, such a great interview. Not necessarily because he's going to go in depth about what he thinks, but he's going to say some things like last summer when he said, look, I hate Michigan and I'm not going to lose to them for the rest of my career. Michigan was like, yeah, dog, we done won the last 4 straight. All right, this is going to be no different. And then kept his word and they beat Michigan, go into the Big Ten championship game, and then lose to Indiana, which is also interesting because Jeremiah Smith had said that the team that Miami most resembles to him defensively is Indiana. They're just that good. Now, I should also add in here that Jeremiah Smith was not the reason that Ohio State lost to Indiana. 8 catches, 144 yards, a TD. Like, he was outstanding. He was lights out. But Indiana is proof that you can allow Jeremiah Smith to get his and still win the game. Right now, it's got to be a low-scoring game like it was, 13-10. But it's good news for Miami that's going to try to run Mark Fletcher all day if they can against that Buckeye front 7 led by Matt Patricia. And you're going to try to get after Julian Sand, who, man, Indiana was coming after him and got him on the ground. He was sacked 5 times in that game. He had been sacked 6 times all season. Miami's capable of doing that. Now, imagine, if you will, for just a second, you've got Carson Beck, who I think is going to have to win this game for Miami. That's what I would do. I would force him to beat me down the field and not let Mark Fletcher do anything. I'd load the box and say we're better on the outside if we can get pressure to Carson Beck, and we're gonna take time to bracket Malachi Toney and keep eyes on him. You might actually see Caleb Downs following him around if he's in the slot. That aside, imagine if you had Malachi Toney on one side, Jeremiah Smith on the other, right? It might feel a lot like having Carnell Tate on one side, Jeremiah Smith on the other. I think Julian Sayin is a more talented quarterback than Carson Beck is, but time to throw is time to throw. And one of the things that Julian Sayin has done better than anybody else, frankly, is just get rid of the football. And they made him hold it in Indiana, which means they were doing really good things in the coverage to try to to confuse him for just a half a second longer than he had used to being confused. Being able to diagnose it pre-snap and post-snap is the elite quarterback trait, right? Everybody on a sideline at a Power 4 school can throw a football 60 yards. Every last one of them. I say this to everybody. Every one of those kids can play quarterback. Even your 6'7", 306, 66-pound offensive lineman like Caden Proctor at Alabama. He can play quarterback. The difference is, can you process it pre and post snap? Can you have a million different things going on in and outside of your huddle and still make the correct read and get that ball out of your hands accurately, right? That's the second thing. You got to be accurate throwing the football. That doesn't mean putting it in the vicinity of where somebody can catch it. That means putting it where only you can, or where only your wide receiver can make that catch. With Jeremiah Smith, it's kind of a cheat code, right? It ain't necessarily that you got to put it on his body. You just got to put it in the zip code. You know what? Forget that. You got to put that in the area code. I live in a 918, but Jeremiah Smith will catch that in the 405. If you understand what I'm saying, you want to throw it to the 580, he'll catch it there too. It's like that. But he said, look, he's a Miami kid. And had Miami been in more games like this one and won more games like Ohio State, he probably would have been at Miami because it's closer to home and it's just what they're doing. So I just thought, man, yeah, all right, cool. That's what it is. I'm very sensitive to this because the U returning to being the U would be very cool to see. Like, I would enjoy the U being the U. I would enjoy being the U because I read so much about Jimmy Johnson's Miami Hurricanes and they just predate me. Like, I was born during that time, 1987, but I wasn't around to see it, right? I'd have been 4 years old, 92, when it's about coming to an end, right? I mean, they're still great by the time they got 2002, and that was the highest point of my childhood for Miami, and then we ain't seen them be in a position like this since then. It's been that long. And you gotta look at what they had, man. It's not just Michael Irvin on the sidelines on all fours, right? It's also Ed Reed was a monster. And if you ain't seen Ed Reed's halftime speech in the tunnel, you need to get to that. Ray Lewis in the middle, dog. Like Benny Blades on the outside, money. You know what I'm saying? Like they had dudes. All Ken Dorsey had to do was stand back there and not get just hand this ball to Willis McGahee, right? Hand this ball to Clinton Portis. My God, like it's just nasty. And when I saw Mark Fletcher doing his thing against A&M, I was like, ooh, we might get the U back. Had Jeremiah Smith gone to Miami, you could make an argument they would have flipped the U quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think that's the thing, dude. Like that's, so to know that was on the table, you got to feel some kind of way if you're a Miami fan going, damn, all we had to do was get good. Yeah. Why don't you just come here anyway? You would have changed the course of history here if you came. Instead, he's Buckeyes, happy to do it. One of the highest paid players in the sport, certainly the highest paid in his position, and looks like winning a second national championship ring while Miami still trying to get its first in the college football playoff era and its first in quite some damn time, dog. But this is a really cool matchup for those of us that grew up around that Craig Krenzel team, and I'm watching this white boy scramble for his life and going, why can't they put this dude on the ground? That's just what it was. It's a lot of fun. How about sleeping on that one for a while? Jeremiah Smith repping the U as opposed to the O block.